Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine.
Michael Zimmerman with Colliders. Very nice to meet you.
Hi, Michael. Nice to meet you too.
I love season two. It's very fun. It's obviously a lot more action than season one, which is really great. But I would like to know when writing season two, because the video game didn't go deep into, storylines necessarily, it has allowed you some freedom of creativity when telling these stories. What has been the most enjoyable part of being able to craft these characters?
It's so much fun breaking season two, having that freedom because you can really dive deep into like what do these characters want? What is the storyline going to be? And so much of the season in one and two is about John and Quiet's relationship. What do these people want? How does the relationship affect the season? How does it affect the tournament? What is
Sure.
it like for these two to enter this tournament together? What do these two people push and pull like? And then how are these cast of characters like when they all interact? You know what I mean? It's kind of like our big cinematic universe season because we get to bring in characters from season one, new and old, to interact with each other, and it's so much fun. Having Sweet Tooth come back, and then bringing in Holy Men, bringing in new characters like Vermin, bringing in Dollface, having Mayhem, a new character, come in. So it was really, really a blast. It was like our ensemble season, having everyone kind of bounce off each other and letting John and Quiet really just kind of take the lead, but throwing them in the deep end and having everyone just kind of duke it out.
Well, these wishes that would be granted by Calypso give these characters depth because it shows where they're coming from and where they've been. So, what was maybe your favorite character to tell the story of, either their journey, what's driving them, their certain ambitions? What was your favorite character to kind of write and tell the story of?
John and Quiet are obviously always going to be my favorites because
Mhm.
they're just like their stories are so interesting and complex, and the way the two of them bounce off each other and the way we tie up their stories is so much fun. I think for new characters, Axel is a favorite. I really love, Michael James Shaw crushes it this season. He's a I think he's going to be a fan favorite. His look is amazing. I love the way his storyline kind of unfolds over multiple episodes and you learn more about him and I love a tragic backstory. I think he's amazing. I think Mayhem is also another favorite of mine. I think her storyline and the way that I just love her coming into it. My concept was that she's a character who always lies. And I think we
Mhm.
get so much great comedy out of that. But then there's something so tragic and revealing about this child, this kid, and the way that we call her an apo baby, an apocalyptic baby. And I love that, there's something so vulnerable about her that you kind of see, and this wanting to belong that we kind of reveal about her, which is so great.
In season two, we saw a change of filming location to Toronto.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the reasoning behind that and kind of, what filming in Toronto allowed you to do in season two?
Absolutely. Look, I'll just say first and foremost, I loved shooting in New Orleans. I think the crew was unbelievable and the locations were so great and gorgeous and vibrant and colorful, which is the reason we wanted to shoot in New Orleans. Quite frankly, the reason I moved to Toronto was because of the weather. It's really hard to shoot in New Orleans when it rains 3 hours every day. And when you're shooting with cars, we had to stop shooting every day for long periods of time. And in a season where you need to have cars even more than in season one, I just knew it wasn't going to work. And it was a really difficult decision. It was not an easy decision, especially knowing how much contraction there is in the TV and film industry. It was a really difficult decision, and it was really heartbreaking to make that decision. But shooting in Toronto was allowed us to shoot what we were able to shoot in season two. And if you look at the stunts and how everything turned out and how it looks, I think we also got lucky with the weather this season. Like it barely rained on us. I think maybe it rained on us, a handful of days. So we got extremely lucky. But you look at, we had an amazing crew in Toronto. They crushed it. They were so great. And I loved how much practical stuff we did this season. I think all of the cars, with the exception of, a few stuff with Grimm, with motorcycle CG stuff, almost all the cars were practical. everything you're seeing is practical stuff. We're shooting on actual roads, shooting actual stuff. I mean, I think when you see the finale, you'll lose your goddamn mind when you see how that took. I mean, there's a sequence that took, I think, almost 29 calendar days to shoot.
Wow.
Pretty amazing. And obviously we added some CG explosions. All the CG stuff is enhancing the incredible stunt work that our teams did. And I think that was the biggest addition, to what we shot in Toronto. And I loved shooting in Toronto.
You mentioned the cars, and I know because the apocalypse in the show happens in 2002, you
Yeah,
wanted to make sure none of the cars resembled anything after that.
that's
So what kind of attention to detail did you need to have in order to make sure it was realistic and seemed like the world ended in 2002?
a pain in the ass level of detail. I mean, obviously some things are always going to slip through, but for the most part, the cars are all old, which, they break down a lot more, which is tough. But our car team was phenomenal. They kept the cars running. We built 8 roadkills of varying usage. I mean, we had doubles of most of the cars to do that, but all the cars are, from 2002 or below or before. So you have these old cars. We all the sets. We wanted to make sure they felt old or nostalgic. The music is all from early 2002 or earlier, just to really kind of capture that feeling of I wanted to transport you because I feel like Twisted Metal at the height of it was in the 90s, right? So I wanted you to remember how you felt when you played that game, when you were sitting on the couch, blowing up your best friend. What movie did you just come back from seeing? What music were you blasting on your CD player? I just wanted you to just be kind of transported to that time of when these games were really at the height.
I want to finish up with it. So in season one, we saw a lot of people, every man for themselves, everybody on their own. And then throughout season two, yes, it was a tournament. Yes, kind of everybody was out for themselves, but we saw a lot more people teaming up and having each other's backs and sacrificing for each other. What kind of story did you want to tell with that, showing that people were coming together, looking at the greater good and the bigger picture?
I think what's so great about our show is that, yes, it's apocalyptic. Yes, people are killing each other. But I think there's something underlying it that is inherently hopeful and inherently positive and inherently fun. And ultimately, this show is kind of about like community. And I think that underneath it all, there are people that love each other. And underneath it all, there are people that care about each other. And I think that, yes, there's always going to be characters that are like, I'm going to fucking kill you. Excuse my language. But I think there are people that are just like, they make connections, surprising ones. And I think that ultimately this is a show about that. This is a show that, is kind of about high school. Like that was always the my perspective on it. And you make surprising connections in high school. You make you make a surprising ally in high school. And I think that's what I want to kind of bring to this is that you'll always have enemies, but you'll always have friends.
Michael, thank you so much for your time. This has been really great. I'm so excited for people to see season two.
Thanks,
So thank
man.
you so much for your time. And it was very nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.